Visualize. Everybody.
Alright, you guys ready for your next comedian?
How does that old saying go? Laugh and the world laughs with you. Cry and you cry. You've heard it?
That's right.
That's right. Well, judging by the market for comedians, it's true. There's something about laughing with somebody about the human condition that's not just funny, it just makes you feel better.
We could laugh right now.
I'll try to think of a joke for you. Some people are better than others at making the rest of us laugh with
Yeah,
them.
no doubt.
Cathy Sorbo, for one. Hello! I said hello! It's fun to talk to you in one of your elements, one of your venues.
Yeah, this is a home away from home.
One thing I always wonder about comedians is if they're born funny, because you always hear those stories about how, oh, they're just funny on stage, but, you know, in real life they're quiet and they just sit there. Is that true?
There are some comics that you wouldn't even guess.
Really?
That that's what they do, and that's what they choose to do for a living.
But were you funny?
I was always a look at me, I'm performing, hi, always.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I read that you started performing at 7, but I didn't know that that was comedy exactly. I thought that was kind of like theater, stage, school play thing.
Oh, you're speaking of Arise, Sparta. And I played Helen of Troy.
Now, that doesn't strike me as comedy.
I wore a sheet. And it was like, I always thought it was going to slip off. I had a big old wig, and King Menelaus was wearing his mother's sandals, lace-up sandals, and they had like clicky heels. It was hilarious.
And how old were you?
7.
And so that was it, the bug bit?
Bug bit, yeah. And I thought I was going to be, you know, actress of the universe after that.
What happened?
Well, let's see. You know, I did the whole theater thing all through high school.
Oh, school plays,
School
drama.
plays, oh yeah, I was in like every school play, in every high school.
That you went to
Yeah.
because you moved.
I moved to Seattle from Los Angeles in 1979.
Were you in high school then?
Yeah,
That's not a good time to move.
it was hard. I thought it would be really cool. I thought I'd be like the new girl. You know how like if somebody comes to your school, they were like the new girl, and it was like all, you know, mysterious. And
You were the new girl.
yeah, but I was the new girl from California. Everyone here hated Californians. Yeah.
Well, so being dramatic, did that help break ice, or did it
No,
help?
I got very introverted and angry, and started writing songs, and ended
Really?
up, yeah, and then I went to Shoreline Community College and met another girl who also liked to write songs and sing, and we started singing together, and we formed an a cappella duo.
Were they funny songs, or were these?
Yeah, they were funny songs.
Okay.
You know, they were kind of angry. You know, it was the 80s, so there was a little bit of that 80s kind of punky
Yeah.
anger to them. But they were funny,
Funny angry songs.
angry songs. And we started performing in music clubs.
Huh. Did you think that you were a comedian or a performer?
No,
What did you-
I thought it was going to be music career from then on all the way.
That was what year?
81.
So before the big hype of Seattle as the music capital of the universe.
Much, much before that.
Huh.
Yeah.
But so who would come to see you? What? I mean, do you still sing? I would love to hear you sing.
Yeah, I do karaoke sometimes.
Really?
Those schoolgirl days. You know, I do To Sir With Love. That's like my killer, you know, Bic Lighter kind of song.
But not part of the comedy routine.
Yeah, well, not yet.
Well, so at some point, you made that transition from singing to
Yeah. and
talking.
I did. And you know what happened was that a comedian here in town saw us perform in a music club.
Yeah.
And she loved our songs and said that we had to come to this comedy club. This
very one that we're
Yeah,
in.
and we didn't know anything about comedy clubs or the whole scene at all. And it was actually quite healthy in 81, 82.
So you stood up and sang? Mm-hmm. Who was in the audience? More than are around us right now.
Yeah, you know, comedy club patrons.
Were they expecting to hear people sing?
It was an open mic,
Oh,
so
I see.
it's sort of, roll of the dice for them. And it went over really well.
It did.
It went over really well. And after that, we kind of said, hey, this is good reaction.
Huh. And were you scared?
No,
No? Mm-mm. Are you scared now when you get up in front of people?
fearless.
Really? I know you went to San Francisco to kind of, I don't know what, work the clubs, right?
Yeah.
Was that because this town was too small to hold both of you, or that was a place that you had to go to be a comedian?
Well, we actually split, my
Oh,
partner and I.
That's so sad.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to kind of go for it. And I think she just kind of wanted to, kind of have more security. And I wanted to move to San Francisco. I loved it there.
Was that a center for comedy?
Absolutely.
Really? Mm-hmm. So did you know people?
Yeah, I knew some comics that had come through Seattle and met them.
Well, so when you, I mean, I know how to audition for a play or for a musical thing. What do you just go and audition for the club managers, do a routine, or how does it work?
You go to the open mics.
Oh,
You
boy.
sign up for the open mics. You might be like number 20. You might get on it,
Wow.
midnight. But you just get your face known and your shtick known.
So what year was that? When was that?
That was 85.
85, and you just went down there. That's a big risk taking kind of thing.
I was Cole the Conqueror. I was ready for it.
Really?
Yeah, and it was really fun. I'd seek out these little tiny lounges and bars because there's like millions of them there. And any place that had a stage at all, I'd ask to do, can I, go do some time?
My mom read my diary. It was bad. Oh, I was so mad at her. I did get my revenge. I got myself a fake diary. Filled it with entries and left it for her to find. Really good entries, too, like, a really nice day today. Went downtown, did some window shopping, met a huge Samoan man. He wore a rubber shirt with the nipple part cut out. I liked him. Mom. Decided to give prostitution a try. What the heck? Went to a party last night. Somebody must have slipped something into my drink, and I drink a lot. Because next thing I knew, I was being bathed by two men in Santa hats.
Did you write jokes? How do you do this?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's like, I'm more of a storyteller. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll kind of like put out a premise and then like, for example, one time I, tell the story, kind of act it out. And
So do you practice that at home before you go out and do it in front of an audience?
I don't.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Do you have a piece of paper that says I'm going to tell the story of X? I mean, how do you prepare?
Sometimes I'll just think of like a funny line, like in my head. You know how sometimes if you are on the phone or you're arguing with somebody and you hang up and then like 20 minutes later you go, oh, I should have said that.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
That I'll like write down maybe a line that I think is funny.
Huh, so it's not like the whole, I mean, my idea of comedy comes from the Dick Van Dyke Show when I was a kid, when he was the comedy writer for whoever it was.
Mel.
Yeah, and they did the show. It's not like that for you. No comedy writers writing jokes.
You know what, though? More and more I find myself forcing myself to actually write out material.
Wow.
I just want to be more focused.
So you didn't, in San Francisco, you would get up and just start telling stories?
I knew what I was going to say.
Was it about you? Were you telling stories about yourself?
I tell stories about being a waitress, or I tell stories about, working fast food and the horrific outfits you have to wear. Something that I hope would, ring true with the audience and, get them on my side.
So this really was kind of autobiography.
Yeah.
I always thought of comedy, the things that make me, there's a lot of things, a lot of kinds of comedians. I'm sure you've run into them in your career, but I've run into them from this side of the microphone. And, there's kind of the ones that are mean, and there's ones that are really old-fashioned and tell those kinds of jokes. And then there are the storytellers, but all of them, I think, aren't they trying to connect with a shared experience? I mean, that makes it sound so grand, but isn't really that what it's about?
I think so, and I think as an audience member, I think you like that. I think it draws you in, and I also think that if you can kind of go whoosh, and switch it and present the unexpected, I think audiences enjoy that as well.
I had to explain death to my kid because she watched Snow White. Snow White's all, the doors are all, Mommy, why are they crying? They lost their housekeeper, honey.
So you really were a waitress then? I'm
really was a
assuming
waitress, yeah.
in San Francisco, because you had to support
No, in Seattle.
before you went.
I was quite possibly the worst waitress ever to put on an apron and carry a tray.
Where was this?
It was on Queen Anne. It was a restaurant called Blocks. It no longer exists. And it was catered to like the business women in the area. And they were mean to me because I had big, sticky, uppy 80s Kaja Gugu hair. You're too shy, hush, hush, big. So.
But you weren't the only person in town that looked like that.
On Queen Anne I was at that time.
At that time.
And I was a bad waitress, so.
So what did you do in San Francisco when you weren't going from door to door, knocking on the doors saying, please give me
Stage time?
stage time, baby?
I worked at a hotel as a hotel maid.
And were you always sure that you would make it?
Pretty sure.
Really? What made you so sure?
I think because I'm like one of them cockeyed optimists,
Now, I've met your mom in the past. Is comedy something that every mother wants for her daughter?
I think my mother's been behind me as far as, whatever floats my boat
Really?
is okay by her,
Was she funny?
Our whole family, I thought, was pretty funny. We all had a good time, and we were very musical and very,
Were they performers? Was your mom a performer?
No. Oh, I tell a lie. She was a majorette
Really?
in her high school in Grand
Really?
Forks, North Dakota.
You still have the baton at home?
She has a baton and the boots with the fringe and the little spangly outfit and.
Well, so just to go back to those many genres, who I'm sure you were busy watching at those open mics if you were number 20 and coming on at midnight, how would you have described where you fit in on that spectrum of performers?
At that time, my partner Nan and I, we were called the sympathy cards. And we didn't really fit in. And that's what I thought was our little trump card, is because we were so different, There were other musical acts, but they had guitars, but we were a cappella, We didn't even have a pitch pipe.
No?
No. So I thought that was going to be, our little calling card, and also being able to do like music clubs as well.
But then you went separate ways.
Yeah.
And so did you sing when you went to San Francisco?
No. I just focused on the stand-up in the hotel rooms.
How long did you do that? Cleaning the hotel rooms or performing in the hotel rooms?
I cleaned hotel rooms for a couple of years.
Really?
It was really fun.
It was?
Good. Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. Yeah, this hotel was like this really cool, trendy hotel, and all the rock bands would stay there.
I
and
see.
It was fun.
So you were kind of like the hipster.
I was
room
a
cleaner.
groupie hotel maid.
And so did you run across famous people in that hotel that you
All
could
the
try?
time.
And did you try your material?
I
on
used
them?
to. I tried, yeah. Some comics would stay there, too. Like the big famous ones sometimes would come through.
Well, so at what point do you stop as a comedian? You stop the open mics and people call up and say, well, Cathy, we'd like you to come in and do a gig.
You prove yourself, time and time again. The open mics, it's easy to spot the ones that have the potential. And then you'll be asked to come in and MC a show. And that's where it starts. And you build up the amount of material and stage time.
Well, so the MC gets to tell jokes in between the acts.
The MC goes up and warms up the crowd. How's everybody doing? All right. And warm up the crowd, and call out who's celebrating, you know, just kind of get everyone kind of in the mood and introduce the acts.
Is everybody drunk in the house?
You know, I'm afraid they are.
As part of it.
Yeah, you know, it's odd the way that, like, stand-up clubs, I think they used to be sort of more of a sophisticated night out, you know?
Yeah.
I think back in the Lenny Bruce and Bob Newhart days, you know? And now it's like a place where the bachelorettes go with their genital-shaped cakes.
Yeah. I actually always thought it was more of a male thing. Are there lots of women
Lots.
in the audiences?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And are there lots of women on the stages?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you know what? In Olympia, Tacoma, Seattle, there's almost 150 comics, amateur and professional, and there's a huge community of comedians.
Wow.
And I really don't understand why, the stand-up comedy doesn't get more coverage.
Why doesn't it?
I don't know. I think we're like the bastard child of performance art, because you get a theater show, or
Yeah.
an art gallery opening, media's all over.
Well, I remember seeing you at Bumbershoot at least one time in the kind of artsy Northwest Room section of the event. So, and it wasn't exactly a comedy gig. In fact, if I recall, there was music to it. But is that seen in the world of performance as something higher than performing in a club like this one?
You mean festivals?
Festivals like that, places like that.
Festivals can be important. There's like the Montreal Comedy Festival is huge.
You do a lot of festivals.
I have, yeah. I kind of quit doing the traveling after I got impregnated.
and became a mom.
Yeah, spewed out the child and kind of, put an end to the heavy travel.
But you did that?
Yeah.
At the circuit?
Been to Montreal, Aspen, South Africa.
South Africa.
Lived in London for a while and did festivals there.
So in all those places, do people think different things are funny? Mm-hmm. Really? What's funny in London?
London crowds really love wacky, they love character comics.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like the emo Phillips type.
Jane
And they
Edna.
also love like the wicked, biting, satirical, like the Bill Hicks type
Yeah.
comedy.
And so in South Africa, do they like something?
They liked me in South Africa, because I didn't do American specific
Yeah.
material. It was all about just sort of the human experience.
So have you ever been anywhere where people really didn't get you?
Yeah, I try and block that out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm bringing up past memories for you.
Go get like some psychotherapy now.
Seattle.
You just forge through those shows,
So you said you were fearless. You don't get stage fright?
Mm-mm.
Really? Mm-hmm. And you never have?
You might get a little butterfly-y. But I think that's all sort of positive energy.
Hello, everybody! Hello, I'm going to get some love from these people tonight.
Are there particular personas that make it in comedy? I mean, are there some people that you've seen that you just look at and you go, "Oh, honey, you're just like too tender. You're never going to make it in this business."
I must say I'm a bit out of the loop as far as being able to view, newcomers. Yeah. It seems to me that, you move to New York or LA if you want to, do the fame thing. Yeah. And then you get your kicks. Either you grow a spine or you don't.
And you already have the spine.
I have the spine, and I don't, I have no desire to do the Los Angeles thing.
Did you ever?
I did at one point. I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and get some management. And what I wanted to do it my way, though. See, and you can't do it your way. You have to do it their way. My way was going to be find a manager that's interested in me. I would then go to Los Angeles, occasionally do sets, try and get some interest. But no, they want you there. They want you right there. Living there. So you can go to this audition or that showcase, at any given time.
How many comedians are moms? I mean, with little kids.
Gosh.
It seems like those aren't really compatible kinds of jobs.
Well, luckily, the stand-up can be
Yeah.
nighttime work.
Although you do have to, I mean, you have a now school-aged little girl, so
Yeah.
you got to kind of be
You got to be alert and awake, alive, awake, alert, and enthusiastic
Yeah.
at 7 a.m. when you're,
Mommy make breakfast.
Yeah, you don't want to accidentally put, like, rat poison in the lunchbox, or anything like that. But, my kid knows all about what I do. She knows that it happens at night.
Is she funny?
She's hilarious. Oh, Marcy, she's hilarious. We were getting ready to go shoe shopping, right? Like, come on, honey, get ready, let's go shoe shopping. Come on, we're going to go shoe. She's kind of hemming and hawing, like, I don't know, do we have to go? I'm like, yes, shoes, you're a girl, shoes. And we finally get her to the elevator. We're down the elevator. She's like, no, can we walk? We're like, no, we can't walk. We got to take the bus. We're going to the mall. You're going to buy some shoes. She's like, I don't want to get on the bus. I find now that I have a kid, I have opened up the love,
Oh, yeah?
Because I used to be very I didn't want kids back in the early days.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't want to have a kid?
I didn't want to have kids, and neither did my husband. We were like, non-breeders, yeah! And I kind of worked on that, and, there might be a few non-breeders in the crowd, but for the most part, what I didn't fully realize is that a lot of people have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that I have a kid, it's just opened me up so much more to so many things and so many more people. And my shows have been a much more enjoyable.
Well, so you're not on the road because you have this child.
I'm not on the road. Sometimes we go on the road, though. If I do a gig out, and we'll all go.
Really?
Yeah, a trip out to Bellingham is a big, big deal for us. Bellingham, take a Greyhound out to Bellingham, check into the hotel. Ooh, you know how kids are at the hotels. It's exciting,
Is your husband a comedian?
He's not, but he's funny.
So he doesn't just step back and say, this is the performer and I'm the guy.
I'm
the
Mr.
rock.
Sorbo.
I'm Mr. Sorbo?
Yeah, so he doesn't mind doing that anymore.
No?
Nah.
Did you meet him on the road?
He was actually on the road. He used to be in a rock band in London.
Oh, you didn't meet him in the hotel in San Francisco?
Well, I did, but I wasn't working there at the time. But I did meet him in the hotel bar, yeah. I'm married. Love being married. Because before, going out with my girlfriends, getting all drunk and meeting guys, it was so boring, and now it's really fun.
Why did you come back to Seattle?
Well, we were living in London, and we kind of were getting just kind of tired of the scene. And I wanted A1 sauce, and they did not have it there. We went everywhere. No A1, had to have it. And at this time was the huge music explosion here in Seattle. And he was a musician. I thought, it'd be really cool. Let's give Seattle a try. You'll love it. And we've stayed.
So is this the kind of place that, I mean, how many did you say, 150 comedians? Can you all do this for a living and make it?
Well, you have to reinvent yourself, I think, you get yourself maybe like a corporate act. At this time now, I'm promoting my holiday party, corporate holiday party act.
A corporate act, so like Microsoft would hire you when they see this,
I've
they'll
worked for
hire
Microsoft
you?
before.
Really? Mm-hmm. And you come in and entertain the
I've worked for
workers?
them actually as an actress
Oh,
on some video projects.
wow.
So if you slot yourself into club comic, then you might be able to just think yourself out of work.
For a quick, delicious lunch. A better meal than you had today.
I had 6 little sugar donuts.
Sit down! And I mentioned before, the theater aspect.
Yeah.
Well, what did I do? I went and I wrote a theater show. I wrote a play, a short one-act play. Try and break into that, and it's
Diversifying. You're diversifying.
Diversifying.
Okay, so should we laugh every day? Is that if you were a doctor?
Don't you?
I do, but should everybody?
Don't they?
I don't think so.
I'm answering your questions with a question,
Okay.
aren't I?
You are. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, right?
Uh-huh.